Hello viewers, welcome back to the fifth and final part of our ancient Greek Polis build. In this final episode we're going to be building a few different things, such as a dinky little hippodrome, some farms, an army camp, a marble workshop, and surprise surprise, some more houses. So make sure to stick around until the end for the tour of our ancient Greek city. I think it's turned out pretty nice, to be honest. But without further ado, let's get on with the time-lapse portion of the video. Now, someone commented in the last episode of the Polis build that we should build a hippodrome, and I thought, what an amazing idea. However, we don't have much space to build a hippodrome. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to build quite possibly one of the smallest hippodromes you'll ever see in any ancient Greek city. Now, classical Greek hippodromes did not have these massive banking things with the big arches. They would have been more typical of the Hellenistic period, but all I've done here is I've put a couple of slabs to make some banked seating, a semicircle, a flat end and some dirt, and made a nice little racetrack over there. Now, hippodromes would have typically been surrounded by your farms. So what I wanted to do initially in the series is I wanted to do a mix of different farming quarters, but I think we're just going to set straight on to just some farmhouses like this. So these are some designs that I had actually used in some previous builds. If you've checked out my Hellenistic island build, that's one of the examples that I've used these in. So I've just adapted these different designs here for our agricultural area of our city, and I've built a couple of new designs based off of these. So these are kind of like late classical period houses that would have been typical of rural Greece, and I'm just plopping them here and there, leaving a little bit of space for some fields, thinking that we can put some olive trees, we can put some flax, we can put some silphium, all these different types of crops that the ancient Greeks would have wanted to grow in their cities. Now, I've tried to keep these houses quite simple with some balconies, maybe some little overhangs to give some storage areas. So this little house over here, I've thought of this as a fishing house next to this big pond. So it's very, very small, very simple. And we're using a base palette of some quartz, some terracotta and some spruce wood. As you can see, I'm starting to fill in some of these areas with some garden walls. I've got some flowers, I've got some crops, I've got some olive trees that I've dotted here and there. Just building a little shed in this corner, so this could be storing some hay underneath the shed. Maybe it could be a place to store your horses. And then in this little corner here, I'm building again another shed and some of a vineyard. Now, this may be not the best place to put a vineyard in the city, but you know, people want to maximize the farmland that they've got. Now, I've got this plateau to the east of the city, and I thought, what better use of this plateau rather than leaving it barren with just a bunch of grass? Let's turn this into a big agricultural area, because we've got a citadel fortress further east of the city, and then we've got the city just across from the ponds. So I decided this could be an area where we could put some olive trees, some flax, we could put some wheat, and then we could have some fields that are not being used, so I'm filling them in with grass. I'm also going to fill in some areas with some sheds for horse grazing, these sorts of things which are going to help fund the city's agriculture. Now, in this area by the pond, I did say in the previous video that maybe we could build a slum. Maybe this isn't turned out quite as a slum. I think it's maybe a bit too nice for a slum, but thinking something that's a bit more modest and working class from some of the houses that we've got in the centre of the city. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some inspiration from some Cyclic houses, and I'm going to copy and paste little bits here and there, because it makes it a little bit easier and you can edit the designs as you go. But I'm using basically a lot of calcite, a lot of granite and a lot of packed mud to make these boxy little houses with these terraces on top, which I think looks quite nice and has a nice contrast to the rest of the city, which looks a little bit more terracotta and plastered as compared to these ones, which are a little bit more rudimentary and boxy in their shape. And I'm not actually putting any paving in between these houses, any roads or anything. I'm just thinking, okay, dirt paths, that'll do. And this could be a little fishing community that sits next to that nice pond. Now, in this back corner over here, I needed to fill in some more houses. So again, we're putting in some more houses in this back corner over here. And these are going to follow the basic style that kind of makes a hybrid of those smaller houses down by the pond and the houses that we find in the center of the city. Now, I did think, oh, what could we do with the back of this temple over here that is this Agora market temple for Athena? And I decided in the end, let's put a small little army camp. So we're filling in some areas with olive trees, and we thought, okay, let's put an army camp here. They can watch the people as they go to the amphitheatre, make sure they're behaving, but also they can help police the Agora market area. Now, in this back rocky outcrop of the city, I've actually removed some houses that were there before. I decided, right, there's a lot of diorite. This could be a marble quarry area. They've quarried out the stone and they've decided, okay, we're building a marble workshop. Now, this is part of the entryway to the city. So it does make sense that some heavy goods or some goods that could be sold from outside the city could come in here to be traded with the city, or as well as a logistic warehouse to export out of the city. So I thought this could be a statue workshop or a marble storage house. And I'm building it as such, having a big ceiling, having some big areas to help manage the dust inside. And then I have some sort of indication to say, okay, some bits of stone are being carved here or there into statues. So in the middle here, you can see I'm building a little statue. That's maybe a more finished statue, and then the ones on the right and the left are less finished. So there we have the build. So I'm going to stop the waffle and give you some nice rolling shots of the city itself, and then we can get into the main tour. And there we have it, guys, for our Polis build. Really hope you guys have enjoyed this little mini series that we've been doing. I've really enjoyed building it, and I think we've got some really cool ideas from this series as well that we can use for further build series in the future. Make sure to like and subscribe here if you're new, and until the next one, guys, goodbye.